Every spring I see Vitt. Say hello, Vitt. Do you want to say hello? Oh! Good to see you. And Vitt is back. Look, look. Beautiful thing, you. Oh! I think Daddy wants to go. It's beautiful. So wet. I have an audience watching me smell my armpits. I smell good, just for the record. I smell fine.
Yo, ready, steady, go!
Alright, so back for more. My last few days in New York, but there seems to be a lot of kids in here.
He's a YouTuber? I think we're going to ruin his video because there's a lot of kids for the YouTuber.
I said that.
It's all good.
I said that.
A lot of people passing through the park. Gotta tell you, this was the first time in a long time that I've stayed in New York and really enjoyed it. It's nice to just come and get lost in here. It's just beautiful and it's green. Continuing in the theme of forgiveness and the origin of like self-love, because a lot of us just kind of like, you know, I've been there. I've gone through life where you freely love and you freely give yourself and you throw yourself into a relationship, and that's the way it should be. But you know, with time, people and things can change you. And I've always been about love. But life can wear you down. You know, you can become jaded. And that doesn't just happen. It's not just one person. It's not the partner that you're with. It's a big part of it, don't get me wrong. But the people who are attached or is surrounding you. And, you know, I think I had gotten so caught up in her family. It's what you do when you get married. It is what you do. You join a family. People say you married a family. It's a very true thing. I remember there were times when I didn't see my mother for months. My father-in-law was very sick. So you get so wrapped up in you're on call, you know, taking care of him and everything else, that I remember feeling really bad about not being able to see my mother for her birthday once, Mother's Day. You know, I think it was a good few months, to the point where my mother had gotten sick once and I didn't know she was sick until I showed up. And those are things I look back at now. And you know, you look at just how lost you get into someone, or families, other families that you become a part of. And a big part of it is I've had to really just work through a lot of forgiveness. So I never want to come and tell you this story from a bitter point of view, because I'm not bitter. It's just, or pointing fingers. I'll never do that. It's just, I know that I've had to forgive my in-laws because from day one, they played a very important part in my ex's life, to the point where I felt very suffocated and I wasn't able to play house even, or, you know, build things together and be together, because they were always very present in our lives. Whether it's, you know, babysitting or just kind of just showing up without announcing themselves. And I'm sure they weren't aware of it, but I gotta tell you, it took its toll on my marriage. And in time, I'm always big on, you know, really catching things before they escalate and calling it out. So that became a thing. And as time went by, years went by, there were serious things happening, like my father-in-law getting very ill, and we played the role that we should be playing. But also there are other people who didn't show up. And again, it's not to point fingers, but I'm trying to give you a sense of the things that can take away and eat away at your marriage or your relationship. And I remember reaching out and saying, hey, we need help. But it became about something else. It became totally about, things that didn't matter. Just very immature reactions. And maybe it was their way of staying out of it, not being there for us. But those are the things I've had to work through on my own. It's really difficult to deal with death or a sick family member ongoing, and you become the caretaker. It's really unfair, and it did take a toll on our marriage. And I think it took a toll on me because, I come from a mother who taught me to love and give unconditionally. But when people take, and there are takers in this world, there are people who look out for themselves, and they will take from you, especially if you're a giver. And this may sound like a negative direction I'm going in, but it's not. It's me being realistic. I've had a lot of years by myself to deal with a lot and think about it and really just understand. And that's the way I'm built. I have to understand why something didn't work, why this happened, and I wanted to understand. And you really just have to understand that immaturity on people's part played a big part in everything in life. So we handled it as best as we could, and in the end, it broke us, to be honest. Taking care of a sick father, ongoing for years, can break anyone. I mean, no one holds your hand and say, here's the handbook on life. Here's your handbook on marriage. You have to figure it out. So yeah, it's really hard talking about this because it's old and I've worked through it. And the other part of that, it was just a lot of coming from abuse from my end, from her end. And to be around that kind of thing where you hear stories of that uncle or that cousin, these are people that I considered like brothers. It was just a very dysfunctional, kind of fucked up thing. And those are the kind of dynamics I was dealing with. And people I've had to cut out of my life and realize those are not the people I want to be a part of, even if they're blood. That kind of stuff, that kind of dynamic can be so bad for someone like me. I'm a sensitive person. I'm a sensitive man. I'm a sensitive artist. I pick up on shit a mile away. So yeah, I wanted to share that because those are the kind of things that you deal with, and it can really hurt a relationship. It can get you to the point of divorce, as it did me. And don't get me wrong, we had our thing. We obviously, it's not just the family. So it could be all of these external things around us, but you have to be, as a couple, on the same page, and you have to agree, and you have to fight the fight together. And that's something that I didn't feel that was happening. And you have to be very careful, even if you're not jaded and you're all about love. Be very aware, take a minute to evaluate the people, even if they are blood, and learn to say, no, I'm not going to be part of that. And I was doing that. Doing it alone, it's not an easy job. In fact, a one-man soldier in a war is just, the outcome. It's very important that you ask questions and you realize that your partner's on the same page with you. I admire people whose relationships are centered in God. It gives them a common goal, it gives them a common understanding, and then they can refer to the Bible or whatever book it is, Quran, the Bhagavad Gita. But when you don't have that guidance, it's all chaos. So in the end, we didn't last. There was love. It was a special kind of love, but sometimes you just have to understand we were immature and we hurt each other. And someday I'll talk about other things that hurt me, that got me to the point of hurting, her and myself in the end. But more to come and more to be revealed. And I think that's a lot that I've shared with you today. I did change my situation, And as I always say, if something doesn't work, change it. But if you get a lesson from something, you're doing fine. You're doing fine, no regrets. All right, stay positive, and thank you for joining me. Remember to hit the like button below, subscribe, share, and yeah, God bless.